Watch Ted Cruz destroying Tucker Carlson, the woke right, and the anti-Semitic protests in universities in the U.S.
And in the last 6 months, I've seen more anti-Semitism on the right than at any point in my life. We see multiple prominent voices on the right going online and defending Hitler. I mean, it almost should be a joke if you think about, gosh, what do you want to talk about? Adolf Hitler wasn't all that bad. This should not be controversial, and yet it's happening more and more and more. And even more problematically, it is spreading with young people. It is spreading with teenagers. It is spreading with 20-something, particularly young men. It is getting traction, this poison. It's being pushed by TikTok and social media. It's being pushed. Look, the loudest of those voices is Tucker Carlson, but there are many others. They get echoed and amplified. And, you know, what is very troubling, if you look, for example, at a couple of recent turning point events, there was one turning point event at Ole Miss that J.D. Vance was there. And a kid gets up and asks this viciously anti-Israel question. The most disturbing thing was the reaction of the crowd. About 20 to 30% of the kids cheered. We saw just a week ago, Eric and Laura Trump were at Auburn. Again, a kid gets up and asks a viciously anti-Israel question. Almost every premise of the question was false. But again, the same reaction, 20 to 30% of the kids cheered. And Gabe, what's troubling to me is this is not Berkeley. This is not Yale. This is not some left-wing enclave. This was Ole Miss, and this was Auburn. This is the deep South, a bunch of frat boys who are 20 years old. And what I worry about, look, we're so polarized right now. We're so tribalized that there's very much a team color sense. And I worry about 18, 19, 20-year-olds who are hearing the message, oh, okay, our team, we hate Israel. That's really dangerous, and it is spreading. And listen, I've resolved I'm going to do everything I can to fight it. I am not going to let the Republican Party be destroyed by this poison that has already destroyed the Democrat Party. And I'm not going to let the country be destroyed, because if we wake up 5 years from now and both parties are viciously anti-Israel, viciously anti-Semitic. By the way, when you are anti-Israel, you know what comes very soon thereafter? Being anti-American. And if you are attacking Jews, very soon thereafter is attacking Christians. Mondami is the logical progression of it. And it's why you have, listen, not only is Tucker Carlson having on Hitler celebrating whack jobs, but he's also going out of his way to defend jihadists. He's going out of his way. And the progression. So Tucker had one professor on who said Winston Churchill was the villain of World War II. No, he was not. He had another whack job, a different professor, who said there's a very good argument that America should have intervened in World War II on the side of the Nazis. No, there is not a very good argument that we should have supported the Nazis. He had Nick Fuentes on, who is an unabashed Nazi, and that is not me calling him that. He himself says he thinks Hitler is very, very cool. He says that Hitler was right. And on social media, he says he's on Team Hitler. Well, you know what? If you say you support Adolf Hitler, that means you're a Nazi. And Tucker, with each of these witnesses, you know, each of these guests, there are people that said, oh, well, the problem is he's platforming Nick Fuentes. You know, I actually don't have a problem with the platforming. I could see it going either way. If he wanted to have him on and really cross-examine him about the grotesque things he said, I'm all for vigorous free speech. And by the way, Tucker does know how to cross-examine people when he wants to. But he spent each of these interviews fawning over them, gazing at them adoringly, nodding. You know, Fuentes at one point said, I love Stalin. And in fact, he said he celebrates Stalin's birthday. Who in their right mind, knows Stalin's birthday? It's one of the most evil people to have ever lived, a mass murderer. And Tucker is just nodding and going along with, I love Stalin. By the way, It's a quick slide from there to Tucker saying, as he did, that America should apologize to Osama bin Laden's family. No, we should not. Osama bin Laden was a radical jihadist who murdered 3,000 people on September 11th. I'm very glad we took him out. I wish we'd taken him out earlier. Tucker likewise said he doesn't know that Hamas is a terrorist organization. He thinks they might just be a political organization. This is the same Hamas that murdered 1,200 Israelis, that raped little girls and women. And Tucker doesn't know if they're a terrorist organization. He had one show praising Maduro in Venezuela. And his latest, he got mad at President Trump for defending Christians in Nigeria. This is an issue I've been leading on for a long time. More than 50,000 Christians in Nigeria have been murdered since 2009. It is the single worst country on the face of the planet for the largest mass murder of Christians that's being carried out by Boko Haram and other radical Islamist groups. Tucker is dismissing it, saying it's not happening, and there is a slippery slope. When you start out saying you're just worried about Israel, it very quickly slides to Mandami world of you hate America and you hate capitalism, and we've seen Tucker travel down that descent in a way that I think is really sad.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many examples that you were going through. I mean, when he had the Christian from Bethlehem talk about how the Israelis are making Christians' life miserable in Bethlehem.
Which is a lie.
Despite the fact that the Israelis don't control Bethlehem, the Palestinian Authority does. And when the Israelis did, they were flourishing. It was about 80% Christian, and then it flipped since the Palestinians took over. The stories are endless. I guess my last question to you, last night I spoke at an event for an organization that's helping train actually Jewish students in self-defense. That's the world we're in today.
Yeah.
And this couple, very well-respected couple, not young, mid-40s, late 40s, came to talk to me after.
That sounds young to me.
That's my age, so I'll take it. So my 18-year-old doesn't think I'm young, but maybe none of my girls think I'm young. But that's
okay. My teenagers say, okay, boomer to me. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm Gen X. Don't call me a boomer.
I don't know what I am, but I don't know how to use my kids' TikTok or Snapchat. So I think that immediately just makes me old for them. I'll be 45 next month.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So now you'll know my birthday. It's not Stalin's birthday. So
glad to hear it.
Yes. I didn't know what it was until Fuentes brought it up. So learned something from him, I guess. This couple comes out to me after the event, after I finish my remarks, and I'm an optimistic person. I'm a realist. I say what's happening, but I say things can get better, and we can work on things. And I give things that are, actions that people can take to try to make things better, both at home, in their community, in politics. That's sort of the angle I take. And they came to me and said, listen, we're not political, but we're seeing what's happening on the left. They're gone. The Democrats are gone. For Jews, we were Democrats our whole lives. That's what this couple is telling me. And now we're seeing what's happening on the right. Is it time for Jews to leave America? Where's our home here? Where's our political home, right? If we don't have a political home, like you're saying, then how can we stay here? And of course, I gave them my answer, but I thought that would be a great question to ask you.
So look, the only answer is we have to fight and win. Absolutely, Jews have a home in America and have been enormously important in terms of driving prosperity, driving innovation, driving new businesses. You look at the number of Jewish entrepreneurs, the number of Jewish scientists, the number of Jewish Nobel laureates. America is massively richer not just in material senses, but richer in terms of innovations and life-saving medicines and art and culture because of the thriving Jewish community in America. And I will say, when you have universities like Columbia University, when the anti-Semitic protests were going on, one of the rabbis on campus sent an email to all of the Jewish students saying, do not come to campus because the university cannot and will not protect you. That is horrific, and it's because the university administrators and far too many of the faculty members side with the viciously anti-Israel and anti-American protesters. And understand, those anti-Semitic protesters, it's not anti-Israel, it is openly anti-Semitic, and they are chanting they are chanting things like "Go back to the ovens." That is not subtle. It is brutal and explicit and open. But they are also burning American flags, and they are openly anti-American. Now, those are being funded. They're being funded, I believe, by Qatar. They're being funded, I believe, by Iran. They may well be being funded by communist China. And then there are leftists in America, many of whom are among the top donors to the Democrat Party, that are paying for them. What I have urged President Trump and the Department of Justice and the FBI is follow the money.